Club, Michael Tubes. Shout outs to everybody, man. Hey, what's up, aka fan? This mayor was good. So this live was set up today because I was having a conversation with a good friend of mine who is also one of the entertainment industry icons in Shina Peller, Honorable Shina Peller, and now a civil servant. Joined politics and then eventually got into government, in Nigeria. And a lot of people that follow someone like me know how passionate I am about my country. Unfortunately, haven't been in a position to ask questions of someone credible in position that could possibly shed more light on what's really going on behind the closed doors of government or otherwise. But, I spoke to my friend, in Honorable Shina Peller, and he was very happy to come live to join me. Hello, can you hear me loud and clear?
I can hear you, my brother. What's up?
Listen, man, it's first of all, thank you very much for taking the opportunity to even speak to me. I thought it was important not only just to hear your own story, but also as a passionate Nigerian, I felt like the opportunity to speak to anybody around government would be incredible for someone like me, just to even find a little bit more insight, and we can share with the people a lot more.
Yeah.
Social media has been where everybody just goes to talk sometimes, and a lot of us can be extremely passionate, sometimes without direction, just
Yeah, definitely.
spewing anger. And I just
I
felt
was
like.
I was in that position myself too. So yes, sir.
Exactly. So thank you very much for joining me. But before we get to that, I just wanted to catch up a little bit about you. You're an entertainment industry icon in Africa, Nigeria, someone who not only started within the music business, but also owned arguably one of the most popular and successful night spots in Africa. How did that start?
Actually, I'll say my I developed my interest in the entertainment industry as it was more of like a rescue plan for a nightclub then that was not getting the right patronage, or I think they were having some problems. So
Hmm.
that time the club was called Grotto. I don't know whether you know Grotto. Grotto
Yes,
used to be
yes,
on like Miang and VI, and
yes,
I used to be one of the best, like, one of their close customers,
yes.
at Grotto. And there was a time that the business was looking out for partnership, and
Yeah.
the owner, who happened to be my friend then, approached me, and because I never saw myself as someone that even own a nightclub or something, so I actually
Yeah.
went into that business like as a rescue
Hmm.
plan, for Groucho.
For
And at
Goto,
that
yeah.
time, what I did was actually to look at his business, to look
Hmm.
at what he was doing wrong, and try to do some sort of reform. Another time when we did it, I gave him. I remember that we had an agreement to make three changes to the business. So
Hmm.
the first one is to change the name of the business, which I changed from Grotto to Lux. Lux means French in luxury. And
I
the second one was to change the management structure. And the third one was to make some renovation.
Yeah.
You, as just an average person, if you
Yeah.
used to say no to a club and they tell you that that's a new club, there are things that you want to see.
That's
What if they
different.
tell you that it's a new club?
Hmm.
You get there. When you get there, you want to see that things are changed in the club. Probably maybe
Yes.
change the colors, change, move things around from when the
Yes.
DJ used to where
Yeah.
someone else. So I did
Yeah.
that. And when we kicked off Locks, it was a successful business.
Hmm.
And just about, I think that was in 2009. Yeah, I think 2009, like 2009, 2010. So after we kicked off Locks, it was a good business.
Yeah.
And I'd been at some point, the business went sour.
Hmm.
And, we had to dissolve the partnership. So I was left with my name, Locks. So the business went back to Grotto. But at that time, I'd already developed interest in the nightlife business. So I said to myself that I was going to open my business. But before then, I was doing other things. I was doing oil and gas. I was
Yeah.
doing a little bit of building and construction, and I'm doing some, procurement. So at that time, Quillox was meant to actually be the Aquila Club because all my businesses then were Aquila
Aquila.
building, Aquila building
Yes.
and project,
Yeah.
Aquila Global Resources Limited. But because I
Yes.
had the name Lock, so I wanted to open a new Locks Club, and at the same time, I wanted to open the Aquila Club. So that's what made me to make Quillox.
Wow.
So I got Qui from Aquila and Locks from Locks.
Locks on locks.
So I tell people that is a definition. The definition for Quillox is actually, it means to me the redefinition of nightlife. Because when I
Wow.
opened Quillox, Quillox was the first purposely built world-class standard nightclub in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
So, and that was when, and from Quillox, I saw the reason, to expand the brand, to go into, to support young and talented Nigerians. So to give them the opportunity to nurture their talents, develop,
Yeah.
their talents and make them achieve their dream. So that made me to open Aquila Records.
Wow. Now, one thing I wanted to ask you before you move on is whilst you were running the nightclub, there was something I saw you do. I was watching you through social media at that time, Snapchat, Facebook, everything. You used to go for trainings, not only in other countries like South Africa, you went to Miami, you went to conventions to learn more about the nightlife business. You spent a lot of money
Yeah,
acquiring knowledge. Why
yeah.
did you do that?
But they say knowledge has no limit, So for me, it's always about commitment and interest in something. And when I'm in something, I want to learn more about what they're doing. I'll say I learned something from my dad. My dad used to say that even if you have 99% knowledge of something, if you see someone 100% knowledge, put your hands behind your back and learn from them.
Wow.
So yeah, so I saw the reason for me to learn, to be better than what I was doing. I remember, the nightclub convention that you just spoke about now.
Yes.
The first time I attended nightclub convention, I was the only Nigerian in 25,000 attendees.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's a convention to develop, every part of the nightlife, both even if you're a waiter, a waitress, if you're a DJ, if if you run inventories for the club, every every technicalities that has to do with the business, was something that people were actually develop themselves on. So I saw the reason why I should get involved in that. So I was just looking on the internet one day, I saw it, and I decided to just, it was in Las Vegas.
Yes.
And after the first time that I went, by the second time I was going for that thing, I'd already saw that a lot of brands, even from Nigeria, getting involved in it. I remember that was when Diageo even plugged in it.
Yes, with C-Rock and all those platforms.
So the second time I went, Diageo actually paid for me. The first time I paid for myself, I did it and everything. But the second time I went, I went with Diageo. And after that time, assessing, that brands are everything coming.
That's amazing. Now, another part I also wanted to touch with you, we never had this opportunity to speak about it in the past. But again, like I said, I followed you on social media for quite some time, as well as having a personal relationship with you. You are one of the first people that I had seen in Nigeria that consistently celebrated their birthday at charitable organizations like orphanages or charities that support people with sight impairment, and always encouraged giving back to the youth and to the community. Why was that a constant for you, and where did you pick it from?
Okay, for me, as the kind of person that I am, I see myself as a full-fledged human.
Yeah.
A human being, and anytime I see a fellow human being that has any sort of physical disabilities, I always see that as a reason maybe why I'm even better than that person. So for me, anything around me that I see that doesn't have what I have as as a human being, I always see maybe that's the reason why I'm better than that person. Try as much as possible to want to support them. So, and I have my charity organization is called Help the Blind and Handicapped. Understand? And that's why I always focus on supporting, the people that are suffering from physical disabilities. And even if you go to a school called Pacheli School for the Blind, it's in
Yes.
Surulere. I've been celebrating my birthday with students of Pacheli School for the Blind for 7 years now.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
even every year, I give scholarship to at least one student from the school that I put on my scholarship scheme, for them level that the person wants to go to school for.
Yeah.
And by now, I think in total I've done about 7 or 8 students from that school,
Wow.
that I support. And if you see these kids, they do so well.
Wow.
That I've always, looked forward to do. And also at the same time, I like to help children because I see them that, they are vulnerable as well. And
Yes.
I like to support people for education because I know the importance of education. Even there was a time that I gave these electronic tablets,
Yes.
about them to schools in Lagos. This was
Wow.
even way before I joined politics, to
Wow.
school with full educational syllabus on it. It's just
Wow.
something I feel so comfortable to do, to be able to, help give back to the society.
Absolutely. Now, let's talk about the next phase. You've spoken about the business side. You've spoken about the entertainment industry. You've spoken about your charitable endeavors. Now you took the massive step in going into politics. What was that decision like, and how did you make that decision?
So, if I tell you
Hmm.
something, though,
Hmm.
this is a very funny one because I was never a fan of politics. You know, I'll tell you that even don't be surprised one day if you see some people coming up with maybe a clip of me saying that I'll never get myself in politics.
Wow.
But I would say my best quote in life is only a
Hmm.
fool doesn't, you know,
Hmm.
only a fool doesn't change his mind. That is my best quote. We should give
Absolutely.
mind to changes, even
Hmm.
if you say do something, if you have a reason, to do it, then you should be able to know, that you should do it, But I would say maybe due to my various philanthropic activities, this actually made a lot of people to see that I have some sort of trait of a politician in me. So, and with what I've done, for people like Pathology School for the Blind, like
Hmm.
for schools in Lagos, and things I do for people around, even my charity organization. I don't know, even there was a time that I was driving one time. I don't know, maybe that time that I was driving
Hmm.
one time that on the road, Lagos
Hmm.
Ibadan
Wow.
stop, put people in the car and everything like that. Few politicians then, and maybe people that that influence political decisions, they always say to me that, oh, Shina, you have what it takes to join politics. That they really want me to come, into politics. And for me, I always say to myself before that, I never want to participate in
Hmm.
politics. But it got to a stage. I used to be like, most of us now that just feel that just um
Criticize the government is not doing well.
online. I used to be one of those people. There's nobody
Hmm.
that cannot criticize online when you're doing something. But yeah, at the
Hmm.
time, I just said to myself that it looks like a waste of time to
Hmm.
me. You just keep talking, and nothing changes. Then one day I just said to myself that I just want to move away from just talking on social media to get involved because I look at
Hmm.
it. How to get involved in politics? If you look at it, we give time to our teachers association meetings for our kids that we go for their meetings. We give time to the landlord association meeting in our area. We attend that. And at the same time, we will fold our hands when it comes to political meetings in our area,
Hmm.
so that there are people that can do that. And forgetting that it's that same politics that we elect from your local government chairman, from your
Hmm.
councillors, to your local government chairman, to your
Yeah.
state assembly, to your governors, to your senators, to your House of Representatives, to your governor. It's still the same politics that we abandon and we don't want to get ourselves involved in. That's,
Hmm.
even when you see that a president emerges today, if the president belongs to APC,
Hmm.
you will see that all the ministers will be members of the party.
Absolutely.
Whether you like it or not, it is still that same politics that we are trying to avoid. You understand? That we elect the leaders, that we make policies that will affect our personal life, that will affect our business.
Absolutely.
That way, and I said to myself that no, me, I'm going to start attending political meetings. I'm going to start participating actively in politics. So I even started from Lagos. Then later, when I go on, even when I get to Ghana, I used to do where are they having their next their award meeting. I go there. Sometimes I can just go there. The first time I went for a political meeting, it was only one person that I knew, and from there the person introduced me to them. And before you know it, I went there, I started knowing faces. From there, I started calling, oh, what is happening? Well, what happened? Even meetings that that did not attend, I will start following up and everything. Next thing, I noticed that they started calling my attention when is the time for them to take a decision. That they have somebody wants to represent, somebody wants to fly with that. What do I think? I might not even know the person, but I'll now keep asking myself and everything like that. Oh, what does the person do and everything? My intention at that time was to find somebody that I believe that has the interest and that has the capacity to be able
to endorse,
to change the situation. And then I'll tell you something. One day I was just in the shower. I was having a shower, and I just thought about myself. I looked at myself. At that time, I think I was 40 years of age that time. Just like that, I just looked at myself. I was just like, oh, man. And I believe that the average age of a person should be 70. So I looked at myself and to oppress other people. If somebody, like in the UK, if you're in London, you can be walking around Trafalgar Square and see a policeman say, I want to take a picture with you. They will tell you, you can't do that. Once someone is wearing a uniform and believes that he is superior than the other person, I see a reason why we should address our national orientation. So this I'm working on, and
amazing.
Obviously, I believe that national orientation cannot be addressed without proper basic standard education as well. So these are the two things I'm working on. I'm working on actually to have the government to provide a free standard basic education. Because that is the only way. Because if we turn everybody to a level in Nigeria, at least people will be able to follow the right orientation.
I thank you very much for this. This just brings me back to the reason why I reached out to you in the first place, wanting to know more about what's going on behind the corridors of power. Sometimes we on the outside think that the doors or the wheels are moving too slow, but we also want people like yourselves that are confident enough, that have the relationships with the press, with the people, to share some of these thoughts with us, so we know and we're taking along. Today, just before I move on to the next question, I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he was talking about the problems that are arising with the isolation and the quarantine in Nigeria, with people having problems with authority. And he was talking about orientation and education. He felt that because a lot of people might not have the education and the powers to the information that's available, they don't understand the need for such a massive decision. And I think what you're talking about here plays a huge role in that, because as little as education is, trust me, it changes everything. Now, let's move on.
Is the basis of our problem. Let me just quickly say something else. It's very simple. Just look at the structure of a country. Let's just take Nigeria that we're talking about. We studied. Nigeria is divided by states. The states are divided by local governments.
Yes.
Local governments are divided by wards.
Yes.
Politics uses the same structure as well. That's why if you see a political party, they will tell you that this is a ward. That this is a ward chair. That this is a ward chairman. That this is a ward chairman. And reports to the zones, to the geopolitical zones, then the national body. So even if you look at that today, in the Nigeria of today, in 2020, we are not talking about 1830 or 1836 or whatever. We are talking about Nigeria of today. And check the people at the base, which is the ward. I will tell you that 50% of the ward chairmen that we have are illiterates. So tell me, if you have illiterates at the foundation level of your construction. Is it possible for you to put a skyscraper on that on that foundation?
Oh,
So that,
that's deep.
you know, so education is key, very, very important. And that's why I said something that while trying to address the national orientation, which is our main problem, we cannot take out education out of it. You understand?
Absolutely.
It's like you trying to cure cancer from the surface. First, our generation must agree that we have failed because the generation of us refused to provide for us the right structure that we should write on. It's now left for us to be able to create a sustainable foundation for the coming generation.
Absolutely.
We can do now. Nigeria must be able to create a structure, and one of that structure is free, basic, standard education. It must be world standard. It must, but to the basic level, and it must be free. If you look at how many children that are out of school now, I'm sure in Kano alone is close to about 5 million.
Wow.
So tell me, what kind of structure do you want to build for them tomorrow if you are not giving them the right education for them to be able to have the right orientation?
That's fantastic.
Very, very important to to take education as key, at least to the basic level.
Yes, sir. Now, talking about the present day Nigeria, the scourge that's taking over the world, the war that the entire world is facing right now is the battle against coronavirus, COVID-19. Everywhere else in the world, we're in isolation, quarantine, as well as in Nigeria. First of all, what are your thoughts on how Nigeria responded to this virus? And second of all, what are your thoughts about the big question that people are even asking in the comments is the Nigerian federal government has just said today that they are issuing, I think it's about 52 billion naira, which amounts to about 20,000 naira to individuals or families. What are your thoughts about that? Is the money going to touch these people, the common man? That's our big question.
First of all, yes, the world is being faced with this pandemic called coronavirus, which is spreading like a wildfire and killing people. I would say the federal government has not done badly from the because there has been a lot of steps that they've taken towards trying to contain or prevent or even control this issue. But from the beginning, where I can say that we got it wrong, number one, was the decision to shut down our borders from countries that have recorded high numbers of people that have contacted these diseases. I believe that decision was late. And I expected that at least that decision should have come at least about a week or 2 weeks.
A week or 2 weeks before,
And when we heard like other countries that's like maybe China, South Korea, United States, all those the travel restrictions from that areas came a little bit late.
Yes.
As that, the government has not done badly on the areas of sensitization to people to prevent them from exposing themselves, which I believe that the Ministry of Health, the Nigeria Center for Diseases Control, and other health services or health agencies, that they have provided. Because, like I said to people, because of the state of our healthcare system, the best approach, to this is prevention. Prevention better than cure, that they say. So even me, my family lives in the UK. When they came into Nigeria, the first thing I did, I made sure that they went into isolation. I called the ministry, for them to come, and who are still complaining
that they haven't received anything.
Billion, and people are still calling me back home. I know how many people that have sent money to. I know how many palliative materials I've sent home, for people. And if such amount of money was spent, I'd rather if they give 10 million naira to a local government, I represent 4 local governments. I will be able to take 500 people from each of the local governments, and every local government is divided into ward. So in my constituency, I have 42 wards. There's nothing that takes me to get at least 50 people from each of the ward, and I have a notice board in a ward, and I have the list of the 50 beneficiaries of that money on the notice board in that ward. You understand? So that because the people know themselves.
So there's a breakdown.
I don't think Adesope that lives in that area. That's his name. There. I don't think the person that lives there. That's his name. Yeah, they know. And if you have a name that is not part of your ward, the federal government can put a number for proper investigation. Anybody can be able to put up a complaint and say, oh, our money is being diverted into so thing. Then you can put your complaint there, write the person account number that you think that they've given that money to, write everything, and send out your complaint, to the number, and they can be able to do their investigation. But I believe that if they've done that, even if they do not even need to give the money to the House of Representatives to disburse, they can ask us for that list. We can submit it to the ministry, and at the same time, paste same at the ward, so that the people at the ward can be able to see it. That, I want to tell you that you'll be getting an average of 400,000 people that would have benefited from that. If they benefit, I'm sure people will not be crying the way that we are.
They are right now. Well, again, that's always the big question. Other countries around the world, they haven't done that in the UK yet, but obviously there's a budget that's been put up. It will be done. It's been done in Canada. It's being done in France. Basically, social services. Nigeria, the criticism always is that Nigeria has had or has made money in the past from oil, and still a lot of times social services the money hasn't really touched the common man. How can the common man really have trust in government and the people when the common man really doesn't see any of these things happen for them?
Yeah. Like I said, Rome wasn't built in a day. It is just, for the common man to know that it is high time for them to participate,
to get involved
in the process that elect, these leaders. So we do that, you will not have a reason why some people be deciding for you.
Absolutely.
Somebody was saying something one day. Was saying, I think it was. I saw it on Sheon Kuti's page one day, and post where it was saying that during this time, where are all the people that read medicine, that read microbiology in school?
Yes.
The field system, they have ended up to become shoemakers. They have ended up to become our event planners. They have ended up to become your fashion designers and everything. But I said back that because we failed the system too by allowing them to do politics on our behalf. That is why I've been able to create a system that will waste away our professional graduates. So you understand? So I just believe that it's high time for people to just understand, not the one that we used to do before when it's like maybe a month to election, everybody will be shouting, no, it's youth time, it's now time for youth. And after the election, everybody will go.
Everybody goes quiet. We must actively continue working.
Emmanuel Macron did not become the president of France overnight. I'm sure they must have started anyway. They had a sustainable structure which they started pushing. And it is high time for our youth to just believe that you can just sleep and wake up and become the president of Nigeria. It doesn't work like that. Understand? It doesn't work like that. When I wanted to join into politics, I saw people that were telling me that, you are the next president, you can't become a president, you can become a governor. Not with this system. You understand? I remember told somebody something before the 2019 election, because I was talking to, I remember, what were we talking about? I think we were talking about, the person was actually faulting my support, for the party that I belong to. And I told the person that even in Nigeria, as at that time, 2019, I said if Jesus Christ, alayhi salatu wasalam, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they both arrived, back to the world and they want to become the president and the vice president of Nigeria in 2019 election, if they were not in APC or PDP, it is impossible.
It's impossible.
You understand? Because of this system. We have to build a sustainable structure before we can start saying, oh, this is what you expect somebody to do. You know, so people just need to understand that these things will not happen by itself. It is something that you have to invest some sort of, investment in. When I say investment, it is not money. I'm saying that you should put in some effort.
Time and effort.
Yeah, into what you want to do. And definitely, I'm sure that we'll get there.
Thank you. Quickly, you recently embarked on a 3-day prayer and fasting period. You posted it on your social media. You know, talk to me about that, especially now with our sensitivities about faith and religion. What are your thoughts behind this?
You know, if you look at what is happening in the world right now, especially with this global pandemic, you will see that it has some spiritual interpretation to it. You know, the churches are closed down, the mosques are closed down, even travel, you know, people travel far and wide, you know, to go. You see people that will even leave their country just to go to Saudi Arabia to just go and pray for one day and to come back the next day and everything. All those things are what God wants us to do. So if even gets to the stage that things are happening on the surface of this heart and God is even turning his back to, you know, things that makes him happy, what you make him to do, it shows that, you know, we must have been doing a lot of bad things on this surface of this heart. And I believe, it is in the Quran, and times like this, when issues like this happen, you come back to God, pray, change our bad behaviors. If you look at the world, look at what is happening in the world now. You've seen several human beings sleeping with animals. Even we are meant to be to help ourselves to make our life easier. A lot of people have done it. Done fraud. They have used it for fraud. You've seen somebody that has so much money in their account. They woke up one day and see that the money is gone. Maybe such people have even killed themselves or something that happened. Even so, you've seen people use social media to break people's lives, for people's life. You know, you've seen people in government. They elect to go into to represent people, and they've used that opportunity, to steal money that they were meant to use to build roads, to build hospitals, and at the end of the day, people will get unnecessary accidents on that road, or they will not get the right attention from people. And I just believe that a lot of things is happening in this world that calls our attention for us to be looking back to God and pray. So we had a 3 days fasting and prayer, and very, very positive by the grace of God that God has answered our prayer, and inshallah, He will restore peace.
And finally, my brother, this one is something that I actually read about, and I also saw you talk about it. Before the COVID pandemic, I think you were speaking about your support for Operation Positive Identification. That's the OPI exercise by the Nigerian Army. Now, that one, it's always a sensitive issue. People have their thoughts about it. I have my opinion about it. First of all, what was your own decision to support this measure, and what were you thinking about?
Okay. First of all, apart from that, it is something that has to do with a common man, because it affects the life of a common man. It's something that I developed interest in. Also, in the House of Rep, as part of our obligations, is for us to oversight MDAs, for us to be in different committees. So I happen to be a member of the Committee on Army, and the initiative of Operation Positive Identification (OPI) is an initiative from the Army, and for me, I understand, few people that were against it, because they believe that just having, the military on your street, on your road, to be, asking people for their ID.
For ID, yeah.
First of all, it is impossible. The Army doesn't have the manpower to be able to perform OPI across the nation at a particular time.
Yeah.
The OPI, what they were saying then is that OPI is going to be on intelligent basis. Yeah. When that there's something going on somewhere, probably maybe they have these bandits, they are moving from one state or from one city or something into another city. Then they want to first of all get there and make sure that everybody that they are seeing there carries their ID.
Can identify themselves.
For me, I see a lot of things in that. I'm a lover of preventive measure. I prefer to put myself better than to cure, and they always say prevention is better than cure.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I the preventive measure. That was why I supported it, because if they said everybody should carry their ID,
yes,
it means that if you carry your ID outside crime, there's a lot of things that they do for you. We've seen people involved in car accident and they are unconscious. If they carry their ID, you'll be able to access their family, yes or no?
I know, absolutely, absolutely.
Youth that just get involved in peer pressure, maybe they just stay somewhere, or they just see somebody making use of maybe ATM card machine and just takes out money, and they just feel that even with knife or pen they can collect that kind of thing from that person. Because they carry their ID, everybody will always be careful of what you get yourself involved in.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That is happening. So for that time, I saw it more as a preventive measure, and that was why I decided to lend my voice and support for that particular thing.
Well, finally, before I let you go, thank you very much again for taking the time to speak on issues that a lot of people try as much as possible to avoid the question from common people around the world, passionate